Today, we're going to teach you how to use one of the best TH11 attack strategies, the Zap Dragons, and we're going to be doing them live. Let's go ahead and start off with this first example here. Now, we're going to be explaining to you guys how to be flexible with your lightning spells and knowing when and how many you need to bring in order to take down air defenses, no matter how many you're going to get rid of. So for starters, we're going to be looking at this base design. We want to take a look at a couple different factors. For one, where is our entry point going to be? Well, if we're going to be entering in this direction, then we want to go ahead and go in for this sweeper. The other thing that we want to do is we want to use the lightning spells between each of these buildings along with hitting the air defenses in order to make sure that we are getting rid of some of the defenses around there, and then last but not least, using the earthquake over both of them in order to make sure that we're able to easily get rid of those two by just using 2 earthquakes. What you need to keep in mind about using the earthquake spells is that they have a 10 tile diameter, meaning that you want to make sure that they're within this range to use the earthquake on. So if they're a little bit further than that, make sure that you're using either another earthquake, or you may have to use a Sui Hero on it in that case. That's just going to give you guys a couple different examples of what you should be doing. So you'll see the use of the ZapQuake here. We want to make sure that we're getting rid of the air sweeper first by using the max lightning spells in the clan castle. I would highly recommend that if you're going to be doing so. And then you're going to be using 2 lightning spells for each air defense, and then you're going to be using 2 earthquakes, 1 on each side to get rid of both of the air defenses. Now, once you've done that, you can create the funnel on either side. Most of the time, you either want to start on a flat end or on a corner. So you're going to be using a Sui Hero on one side with the E-Drag on the other. And that way, what you're able to do is send a massive amount of your dragons up into the other main threats. These are going to be things like the Eagle Artillery and the single or multi-target Infernos. Really, depending on how they're placed and how the Dragon AI works, that's really something that you need to consider. So for starters, you can see that we're entering everything. We're sending everything in. No rage or anything is really needed here, but we want to make sure that we are getting to this eagle as soon as we can. If you want to use the Stone Slimer with the dragons, you can use it to provide a little bit of a tank, but you also may want to use it a little bit where you're able to use it to create a funnel or get rid of a single Inferno by using a free spell as well to support it. Those are things that you may want to consider. Another thing that we're doing here is using the Warden ability in order to make sure that we're keeping these dragons alive as they continue to push through, and even keeping our own Warden alive as he gets through the Headhunter. Unfortunately, he did die out here in this example, but it still gives you a really good idea of what you should be doing. Now, if you don't want to bring 8 lightning spells and 2 earthquake, you may want to try bringing some free spells instead. So if the sweepers are kind of placed in such a way where they're facing one direction, you may want to bring either a rage or 2 free spells depending on what you're seeing. So if you're seeing single target Infernos, I would suggest bringing a free spell in the clan castle because it's going to help you a lot. But if you don't have max earthquake spells, try bringing 2 earthquakes in the clan castle and then bringing the 2 freeze or rage in your spell slot. That way it just gives you a little bit more of an idea if you're going to be using the Zap Dragons. So now this is just one example of many. Let's go ahead and give you another example of using the Zap Dragons. So here we go, guys. We've got this base design right here, fairly decent. Some of it is maxed, so that's pretty good. So it's a good base and good loot too. So I want to show you guys what we're going to do. We're going to use the lightning spells on these, use the earthquake to get rid of these air defenses, and the lightning spells in the clan castle to get rid of the sweeper. So I'm going to first go ahead and get rid of the sweeper, using 2 lightnings from that, and then we're going to be using an earthquake here and an earthquake here. It doesn't matter if you start off with it or not. And then I'm going to be using 2 lightning on each of these defenses. And that way what I'm able to do is get rid of the air defenses. Now, I want to see where I want to send in my Sui Hero. I think I'm going to send it in up here. So I'm going to use the king, wait a little bit. I'm going to send my queen in right behind. And I'm going to use a balloon and E-Drag over here baby dragon to create a little bit more of a funnel here for the queen. That way she kind of walks down. So this is looking pretty good right now. We've got a fairly nice part of the base that we can enter into. So I'm going to send in my dragons now, put my warden on air, send in the balloons right behind as well. And then I'm going to use the stone slimer here, kind of going in for the air defense there, or for the archer tower. And then it should go in for that single target inferno. And then I'm going to be going ahead and let's see. I'm going to use the ability right here to protect it from that single and from the Eagle artillery. That should get easily to that single target inferno. We're looking really good here. Still got the use of a couple cleanup troops that we can use a little bit here and here. And this is absolutely wrecked. Like, look at this. This is how easy this attack strategy is. There really isn't too much. And you saw the use of the lightning spells and the earthquake. Very, very simple. Nothing too difficult with this one. We can even swag the poison spell included. This is a very, very easy way that you guys can use this. So taking advantage of that particular way of attacking, using the Sui Hero in a particular area and using the ZapQuake to get rid of other defensive structures around there is just huge value. Hopefully this gives you an idea of using the 10 lightning spells and 2 earthquake to getting through it, but hopefully this kind of gives you that understanding of just sending in all of your dragons and using that stone slammer a little bit more surgically, a little bit more away from your dragons to help create a funnel and also support them. So let's go ahead and move on into another example using no earthquake and 6 lightning spells. Unlike the previous 2 examples, this one is using no earthquake spells. So if you don't have them maxed, or you just don't want to use them, or there's not too many defenses around the areas of where you want to use the ZapQuake and you're not getting enough value, this is really a good point to using just lightning and no earthquake. So make sure that you're using 3 lightning on each of the air defenses. That way you're able to get rid of 2 of them. Then the last air defense that you need to get is going to be using your Sui Hero. That's going to be the 3rd air defense. The 4th one is going to be left up, but you have the Lava Hound that's going to tank for your dragons as you enter into the base. So we'll give you that example, and you can see the use of that Lava Hound in the army composition. So for starters, we want to start with the lightning spells. So we're going to be seeing the use of 3 lightnings on each of these air defenses. We're also just trying to get rid of some of the defenses around there. So for an archer tower, I believe it's only 3 lightnings that you need in order to take it down. So you're offering yourself a lot of nice value. Now at the same time, after you've done using the lightning spells, then you can go ahead and use a Sui Hero. In this case here, we're going to be using the king, and we're going to delay our queen. That way the queen just kind of goes up here and then kind of steps up in to getting rid of the air defenses. That's exactly what you want to try and do if you're going to be using this. Now at the same time, you may want to go ahead and try using the E-Drag on the other side. You're creating the funnel. That is the most important part here. So by creating the funnel on these 2 sides here, what you're basically doing is allowing yourself to get enough value in order to send the Lava Hound into tank and keeping your dragons in to continue moving in this direction. So you'll see the use of the Lava Hound. It's going to be saving you time by protecting the dragons just enough so for them to get through defenses that are on the outside, and some of the lava pups will be there to distract the air defense as you push in. So you've got the use of the dragon, the warden ability. You're going to be able to create that nice funnel specifically for them and keeping them protected. We're using the stone summer over here on the other side to make sure that they are not going this direction and staying on the outside. We have a couple staying on the outside, but they're also helping the stone slammer as it moves through to other defensive buildings. Another thing that we're doing in this example is using the free spells on the multi-target infernos. We want to make sure that we are protecting these dragons. So if you're seeing single target infernos, this is a better option. You want to use the free spells to freeze them up and to make sure that the inferno tower is not doing a lot of damage on your dragons. So you want to make sure that you're protecting them. Another thing that you can do is bring balloons in the clan castle and use a haste spell. This is going to be enough to push your balloons through. So if you decide that you want to use a haste spell, you want to make sure that you're hasting them into defenses very similar to how you would be doing in a Lalo. So stuff like the wizard towers and archer towers, you just want to really quickly get rid of certain defenses, and that way you're having a much easier time as you move through and getting the cleanup done for the rest of the attack. Just gives you a good concept of using this. Now, we did show you a live attack in the after the previous examples, so we're going to be doing the same thing here. We're going to show you guys how you guys can use no earthquake, but this time we're going to be taking a look at it for myself. Here's another decent base design. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using 3 lightning on each of these air defenses, and I'm going to be using a Sui Hero on this other air defense, and then that way I can kind of send everything in this way using an E-Drag over here to create the other side of the funnel. So let's start by doing the 3 lightning spells here, and I'm going to be doing the same thing on the other side, and then I'm going to let my king create just a little bit of a path. I want the king to go upwards, and that way he's able to create a little bit more of a funnel. So I'm going to use a baby dragon up here to kind of control that king a little bit more. And once the queen steps up, she will be able to reach the other air defense. So I'm going to use the king ability. I'm going to be using the E-Drag over here along with a skeleton barrel just to create a little bit more. There we go. We're looking good. Now that we have this final air defense, I'm going to drop in the Lava Hound, drop in the dragons. I'm going to drop in a couple minions over here to create a little bit more. Send in this. I'm going to use that Stone Slammer a little bit over there. It's creating a nice tank, and I'm going to be using the Rage right here to provide more support. There we go. They're going to get distracted. I'm going to use the ability over some of the dragons here as they continue to move in. And I still have the use of another Rage spell. I can really use this whenever, but I'm going to use that right here with the dragons moving in. And I've got the use of the haste as well, so I'm going to use the haste along with some of the freeze to get through. I'm going to freeze the multi-inferno as well, and I'll probably freeze up the wizard tower too. This is looking real good. We still have the king up, barely. We also have a lot of dragons up. We still have the balloons. This is absolutely wrecked, and this is versus a max base, or at least a mostly max base here. So absolutely, you guys can see the power of using the ZapQuake and then using the lightning spells and stuff like that. We already showed you guys this, but with 1 minute and 8 seconds remaining, that's pretty good. We were able to easily move through this one, so quite easy. So that gives you guys the live attack here. Let's move on into another example of using the Zap Dragons. Now this example here is going to give you an example of getting rid of not just air defenses, but also getting rid of a multi-target inferno if it's in range. You can also do the same thing against an air sweeper too, since you do need 2 lightning and 1 earthquake with the level 8 lightnings and a level 5 earthquake at Town 11 to get rid of an air sweeper. What you'll see here is that what we're going to be doing is we're going to be placing the lightning spells here and here, both on top of the multi-inferno, but also on top of both the archer tower and the air defense to get rid of them, and then we're just going to use an earthquake over it to get rid of all of those defenses. That's exactly what you want to try and do. And on the other side, we're just going to be using the lightning spells and earthquake in between the air sweeper and the air defense to get rid of these. This is huge value that you want to make sure that you're getting with the attack, because you want to make sure that you are also getting rid of other defenses surrounding it. If you can get air defenses, the inferno towers, maybe in the clan castle or a sweeper, that's huge value for your attack. So you want to consider those things. So starting off, we want to use the lightning spells and the earthquake over the air defense and over the archer tower, along with hitting the inferno. And then we're going to be doing the same thing on the other side, but just using them in between the air sweeper and the air defense to get rid of them. So if you see that, take advantage of it, and no matter what town hall level you are, you should be doing just that, as long as you have access to the earthquake. So you want to make sure that you're getting rid of air sweepers and possibly inferno towers for those of you at Town Hall 10 and Town Hall 11. You just want to make sure that you're getting rid of as much of the base as possible. So after this, you can really do a Sui Hero. In this example, we use the Sui Hero down here along with the king in order to get him to take down this air defense. And we're using the queen over at 3 o'clock to just create some pathing. So that's why we're using the Stone Slammer first. So now what we've got here is we've got the Stone Slammer going this way. It's going to move down in this direction. And that way what we're doing is we're creating a funnel here with the dragon. That way we're able to create that side of the funnel. And now what we've got is all these dragons moving in for that air defense. So you don't need a Lava Hound all the time, but if you decide to bring one, if you have enough space to do so, you can do that. So you'll see the use of the Warden ability in order to protect all the balloons and the dragon along with the Stone Slammer as we move right towards that Eagle Artillery. You want to get rid of this as soon as you can, so the balloons in the clan castle can provide a lot of support for your dragons as you push in. So that's exactly what you really want to try and do. If you're going to be using a heal spell, you might want to use it on a good group of dragons that really need it the most. So the ones that, if you see that you have a big group of dragons, either like you see here, like these dragons here that could need it, or even these dragons over here, you're going to be able to use that heal spell to really provide enough support for the rest of them. Since they weren't underneath the Warden aura, you want to make sure that you're going ahead and using that heal on the ones that do not. So that way you're still able to get a lot of really nice value and you're easily cleaning through the rest of the base. So this is one example of just using the lightning spells on a structure other than the air defenses. Let's go and take a look at one final example after the live attack to really show you guys how to deal with the clan castle that is right near two air defenses. Unlike all the other examples, this one is going to be using the lightning spells on top of the air defenses and the clan castle. If you can look for something kind of like this is going to offer you a lot of value. You need to use, if you remember, you need to use 2 lightnings on each of these air defenses. That's going to bring that total to 4, and then you just need to use 2 more to get rid of the air defense, the clan castle, and then that second air defense. And that way you're also getting rid of, having to deal with the clan castle troops. So if you don't want to worry about them, these are the bases that you should be doing. And then over here, you're just going to be using the ZapQuake on the final air defense, and then just using a Sui Hero to getting rid of this final 4th one. That's all you're doing with this attack. You just want to make sure that you're looking for those specific things. There's a lot of different variations that you can do with using the lightning spells. So I only showcased a handful of them here. There's multiple different things that you can do, but this video really just gives you the idea of using the ZapQuake on different defensive buildings and how many that you would really need to bring. So now this gives you another example of just using some minimal troop space. We've got the use of minions here to create a little bit of a funnel, while we're using the E-Drag on the other side to create a little bit more of a funnel. You saw the E-Drag throughout this entire thing, and I would suggest if you're using the E-Drag, make sure that you're getting some nice chain from it. Now the other thing that you're going to be doing is using a Sui Hero like I've mentioned, and you can always delay that Sui Hero as much as you can in order to create that nice path for your dragons to move in. So you want to make sure that this is the case, and that way they're able to move in like this. Now your Stone Slammer is really going to depend on how many defenses that you're getting through and if you really need to create that. So over here, we're using this at 12 o'clock to carve out this part of the base, because we want to make sure that the dragons are staying and going through the Eagle Artillery. That's exactly what we want to make sure that we're doing. We can also use the Warren ability here in order to get through the things like the Inferno Tower through the Sweeper. And we're going to be using a free spell on the Sweeper and the Eagle since they're fairly close together, and we can easily move through those and cause as little problem as we can as we continue to move into the core. This is really where you could bring in a rage spell if you want, or you can use another free spell, but using the rage spell is really going to offer you a lot of support, especially for your dragons when you get into the core of the base, or if you're going to be using balloons in that Stone Slammer, you're able to keep them moving through the base without having to really worry so much. But in this case here, we're not even going to use that rage because we've finished off the rest of it, and we're going to be using a swag rage right there. But you can see the power of this. If you don't need the rage spell, you can either hold on to it or you can swag it like the attacker did here, but it gives you a nice sense of variety when you're using this attack. No matter if you are seeing different type of bases, you're going to easily know how to plan on each of them. Whether you're in war or farming, you guys can pick and choose the best variation that you want to bring. So hopefully this video helps you understand the base identification if you're going to be using this, and also being flexible with your lightning spells. If you guys enjoyed, make sure that you let me know in the comments below what you thought about the videos, what you thought about the live attacks included in this one, and make sure that you guys go ahead and subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell for more educational Clash of Clans content like this. Make sure that you guys also go ahead and follow me over on the social, join my Discord server, and use code CorruptYT in the Clash Champ shop to save 10% off your purchase. Other than that though guys, that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you next time. Corrupt, signing out.